Hello guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing this cute little plum smoky eye. So off camera I started with my brows already done, as you can see, and now we're going to move into my lid. Starting with my favorite concealer for eyeshadow base, I'm going to be using the Makeup Revolution number 2 and just putting a generous amount on my lid. That way I can blend it out and have something for my shadow to attach to. My goal is to make sure that this concealer lays nice and smooth, so that way my shadows go on and blend very nicely. Starting with my James Charles Artist Palette, I'll be using the lightest shade of pink. Taking a fluffy brush and applying the lightest shade to my crease. I like to do this first so that way when I start to take the deeper shades, it's easier to blend up into my brow bone and I don't spend as much time. This has very easily become my method of doing a smoky eye. Now taking the brightest shade of pink in this artist palette and using a more condensed brush, I will go right to my crease and start to pack this pink color on, but still making sure that I'm blending up as I go. I'm reserving the area right above my lid just for my darker shades, so no need to drop it down unless you want to just stick to 2 colors. With a very fluffy shadow brush, now it's time to blend this crease. I did decide to do my opposite eye so that way I can have something to follow. So with me blending, you notice that it does take down the brightness of the pink, but I will be building back onto this and continuing to blend. I love this technique for smoky eyes. I literally can select 3 colors out of any palette and create a nice eye that's going to blend up. Whether it's greens, blues, pinks. Pinks are by far my favorite, but you can definitely switch it up and customize it. Switching over to my ColourPop palette called Lovebird, I'm going to use the darkest shade that they have to now go right on top of my lid and continue to blend up into that very hot pink shade that I used from the James Charles palette. What's helped me achieve my smoky eyes in a much quicker time is every time that I switch my colors and go darker, I switch my brushes and I make sure that I drop the size as well. I've reserved the last part of my eye for the darkest shade in the James Charles palette. Using another small condensed brush, I'm going to go on and I'm going to start to pack on this dark shade, but remembering to blend as much as possible as I go. Always check your opposite side to make sure that you are keeping the look consistent. So here you'll continue to see me blend out this darker shade and add on more and more as I need, but also if I need to blend at the same time, I'm doing so that way it's not just a harsh line. For this look, I wanted that corner to be nice and dark. And lastly, for this look, I will be going back into my ColourPop palette, using their lightest shade to do a shimmer overlay, so that way I don't have a matte finish. Before I move on to the rest of the face, this is an up close look of the eye so far. So without lashes and without a wing liner. I really wanted to take this smoky eye over the top, so I will be using some pretty dramatic lashes. These are lashes that I got at my local beauty supply store. They are 25 mm's, and I will be linking the brand and the number in the description box. Priming my face today, I'll be using the One Heck of a Blot by Soap & Glory. This is great for people that typically get oily throughout the day, and it's also one of the primers that doesn't irritate my psoriasis. Using my new favorite concealer by Juvia's Place, number 14, I'm going to conceal any dark spots that I have. I'm also going to use a little bit of a green corrector around my mouth to reduce the redness of a current flare-up that I have by my psoriasis, to give me nice even skin once I'm done. Today I'll also be using a brush to blend in my foundation to get more coverage. Typically I do like to use a wet sponge. To do my full foundation, I will be using number 435 and 440 for my full coverage. This product is super concentrated, so a little bit goes a long way. So I like to do dots to be able to make sure that I'm not overusing the product. I begin rubbing in the foundation, and then taking a brush, I will blend this out. Next, you will see me use my concealer from Juvia's Place, number 16. I like to apply under my eyes, on my nose, my chin, and forehead. And oftentimes I do let this dry down, so that way when I do start to blend it out, it's not going to move out of the place that I want it to live. Then, taking the same concealer that I used to conceal my brows, I will go right underneath that lighter shade, just so that way it blends a little bit easier. Taking my favorite Real Techniques brush. It's a fluffy brush, but it's great for blending out concealer. It's very soft, so it's not going to put any pressure underneath the eye or in any areas. It is time for me to wash my brushes, so please excuse the product that has been left from my last application. But yes, this brush is a must. To set my foundation, I will be using a Ulta Beauty pressed powder in the shade closest to my foundation, just so that way I can allow my foundation to stay in place. Now to contour, you'll see me take a nice dense Real Techniques brush to blend out my contour, and then I like to tick-tock between a wet sponge, so that way the lines aren't so harsh. And I'm using a cream stick foundation in Maybelline for this color shade. Now on to my favorite part, which is baking. I will be using the Banana and Banana Deep in Makeup Revolution to bake with a dry sponge right underneath my eyes, my forehead, and my chin, and around my nose. So every place that I placed my concealer, I will be setting with this loose powder. Once I've let my powder set for no more than 5 minutes, I take a nice fluffy powder brush and just wipe off the excess. Just like I did with my concealer, I want to set my contour as well. So going into my Warrior 2 palette, I will take the medium shade and the darkest shade just to define these cheekbones just a little bit more, because I want to go for a very sculpted look. I'm actually going to be using the same shade that's on my eye called Skip for a little bit of blush, just to make this tone look a little bit more girly. I am a fan of using eyeshadows for blush as much as possible, because you can always use a certain palette for different things. I did decide to go ahead and do my under shadow off camera. If you can see, I pretty much just did the same steps that I did from my top lid and added a nice little white eyeliner to make my eyes appear a little bit more open, and I brought my eyeliner into my inner corners just to kind of make it a little bit more clean. With the fan brush, I did decide to use a pink highlight today instead of my regular gold and silver, just to keep up with the pink color scheme. I apply this to the top of my cheeks, so that way when I turn, you can see the light hit, and it just gives me all sorts of glittery, girly vibes. To go ahead and wrap up this look, we're going to be hopping into these lips. So taking a darker shade and a lighter shade, I'm going to be doing an ombre effect. This is a great color combination for an everyday look and something that's not going to clash with the eyes. But in my thumbnail picture, you'll see that I use shades of pink just to kind of complement the eye color that I chose to do. You'll want to line the lips with the darker color, any shade of your choice. Once you have this on nice and smooth, you're going to take the inner parts of your lips, merge them together, and you'll kind of naturally create a nice ombre effect. And you can top it off with a nice lip gloss if needed. Super pleased with the overall look, and there you have it. This is my complete look. This shade color combination is my go-to, so I love doing pinks and purples. This is a different view, so my ring light is on high so you can see this color payoff and this highlight. Thank you guys for watching, and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, and see you next time.